There's something magical about Maine's sky, Maine's oceans, the mountains. Maine has been really, to me, like poetry. Every time I go hiking, I feel alive. I was born in Kurdistan, Iran, a small, dusty border town between Iran and Iraq. And I was the youngest of 9 children, so I had a happy childhood. Of course, I was too innocent to understand that in a decade or two, that peacefulness of my hometown would go away. I think fate has some other plans for me in mind, and I was about to graduate from college when the so-called Islamic Revolution of 1979 happened, followed by war between Iran and Iraq. Basically, I became a stateless person. I had no country to go back to. And that's when I applied for refugee status. I arrived in Portland, Maine, Memorial Weekend 1985. And since then, it's been home.
The fact is we're a very large state, but as big as we are, we've never seemed to have lost that kind of small town feel, the small town mentality that's really been defined by our history. Androscoggin Bank was founded in 1870 for a specific purpose, because the population of Lewiston grew as a result of all the immigrants that came to work in the newly built textile mills. So the community leaders came together to form the bank, but they did something really interesting. They decided to form us as a mutual bank, which means we're essentially owned by our depositors. And any profits that the bank earns are immediately reinvested back in the community, either into new clients or into philanthropy or any other way we can serve the community. I think because of our unique origin story, that's been infused into our DNA and is carried forward in the spirit of the company.
So this was my first apartment. Here I was finally home. After years of being displaced and not being sure where I would end up, and every time I got the glimpse of the ocean, which is to this side, I was mesmerized at how gorgeous it was and how the colors changed. And I would just picture myself as a permanent resident of this community.
I felt fortunate, and I still do, that I was offered a space at the table, that I became an American. I'm an immigrant advocate, an educator, and a writer. Really what drives my passion to help immigrants is because I came as one. I was born a Muslim, and I continue to be a Muslim. We have thousands of Muslims living in Maine. Because of their religion, there are some requirements that makes it a little harder for them to apply for a mortgage or take a loan. So this was one barrier that I thought we could address.
I think it's safe to say the only constant in banking is the pace of change. You have to be nimble if you want to stay relevant to your clients. So we reached out to some leaders we respected, and we asked them if they'd be willing to collaborate with us. The Islamic faith has some very specific guidance and principles about financial activities, and we were informed that the Muslim community could not utilize the conventional mortgage offered by banks. So when they identified this challenge, it took us back to our founding legacy of being formed specifically to help the first generation of new Mainers buy homes. So we were immediately intrigued and interested to see how we could move that forward.
I came to you and I said it was about gaining a sense of ownership. And they have this American dream, that a version of it, and that one day I'll become a homeowner.
It wasn't just designing a solution, it was building a bridge to the community. The conversation we're having here, the work that we started with so many people around us will have that kind of generational impact. That would be a wonderful legacy for us to leave.
I was born and raised in Egypt. I was living a normal life there, a family of 5, mom and dad and 2 brothers. I'm in the middle. And my life was very good in Egypt. Nothing was missing except that I am always looking for more. I'm never satisfied. And this is what made me take the adventure and the journey to the US. When I moved to Maine, I didn't know whether I would find Islamic financing or not. So I was reluctant to buy. until somehow by coincidence I was at the mosque and a friend of mine told me that Androscoggin is giving a presentation, and I was very impressed that our needs are being considered. It was really, really a big deal for me that a typical bank is considering the smaller community.
We first began by working with finance professionals in the Islamic faith, and we came out the other side with a structure that we believe was designed to comply within those stringent guidelines, and at the same time would offer the same costs and benefits to the bank and the same economic costs and benefits to the home purchaser as a conventional mortgage.
So the Islamic mortgage, they are compliant with the Islamic beliefs. It was explained to me in a way that it is similar to rent to own. So I am paying rent, but after I finish it, it is going to be my home. And my home is a tiny little condo. And it is exactly what I have dreamt for. I feel so much at peace and at home, and I feel the tranquility that I do not want to lose this forever. I can go and travel, but it is a place where I always come back to.
Home is where you're loved. Home is where you belong, where you feel safe. Home is where you feel you're part of society. It's about offering people hope and opportunities.